Hey everyone. Today, I want to talk about something that many couples experience but hardly anyone talks about openly. Why is it that after many years, sometimes even decades of marriage, women begin to feel disconnected or emotionally distant from their husbands? It's a question that touches the heart of what long-term relationships really are, how love changes, how people change, and how the everyday realities of life can quietly erode the connection between two people who once felt inseparable. If you're a husband wanting to understand your wife better, a wife wondering why things feel different now, or simply someone curious about the realities of long-term love, I invite you to stay with me for a while. What I share might give you new insight into the invisible struggles behind many marriages and maybe inspire a fresh perspective on how to nurture love over time. Let's begin with something fundamental: intimacy. When we say intimacy, most people immediately think about physical closeness, hugs, kisses, sex. But intimacy is much deeper than that. It's about feeling truly seen, valued, and emotionally connected. It's about the unspoken understanding, the quiet moments when two people feel safe to be vulnerable. For many women, especially after years or decades of marriage, this sense of intimacy can slowly start to fade. It's not always because the love has disappeared. It's often because the emotional connection that fuels intimacy has weakened. When a woman no longer feels truly desired or emotionally recognized by her partner, it can feel as if the love itself is slipping away. Imagine feeling invisible in a relationship where once you were the center of your partner's attention. That loss of feeling desired, cherished, or emotionally close can lead her to gradually pull away, not because she wants to, but because she's protecting herself from the pain of feeling unimportant. Next, let's talk about communication, or more precisely, the lack of meaningful communication. In the early days of a relationship, conversations are full of excitement, curiosity, and discovery. Partners ask each other endless questions. How was your day? What are your hopes and dreams? What's on your mind? There's a hunger to know and understand each other deeply. But over time, as routines settle in and life's stresses mount, many couples fall into a pattern where conversations become mechanical and surface level. Husbands and wives might barely exchange more than, "How was work?" or "Did you remember to pick up the groceries?" Sometimes it gets worse. The deep conversations disappear altogether. When communication shrinks to small talk or stops, emotional distance grows. A woman might feel like she's living with a roommate rather than a partner because the sharing of thoughts, feelings, and dreams has quietly stopped. This lack of connection can create a feeling of loneliness even while living under the same roof. And when loneliness grows in a marriage, it can slowly erode the bond that once held two people together. Now, one of the most persistent sources of frustration for many women is the never-ending burden of household responsibilities. Even in modern times, studies consistently show that women often do the majority of housework, cooking, cleaning, laundry, organizing, not just when they're raising children, but often well into their later years. This ongoing load can be exhausting. After decades of managing the home, taking care of others, and balancing countless tasks, many women reach a point of sheer fatigue. The question starts to arise: why am I still carrying this burden alone? Why isn't my partner sharing this responsibility as equally as I do? This imbalance isn't just about chores, it's about feeling undervalued and taken for granted. When a woman feels like she's the only one running the household, it's easy for resentment to build, and for emotional detachment to follow. Another powerful reason some women begin to feel distant is that they outgrow the relationship. As people age, personal growth and self-discovery don't stop. In fact, they often become even more important. Many women want to explore new interests, travel to new places, learn new skills, or develop fresh friendships. However, if their husbands resist change or remain stuck in old habits, this creates a growing emotional gap. The wife might feel like she's evolving, while her partner stays still, and that can feel incredibly isolating. Imagine standing at a crossroads in life where you're eager to move forward, but the person you once dreamed of walking beside you chooses to stay behind. This feeling of being out of sync can lead to a slow but steady withdrawal, where she begins to emotionally disconnect to protect herself from disappointment. Retirement, often seen as a time of joy and freedom, can sometimes bring unexpected challenges. When couples retire, the rhythms of their lives change dramatically. Suddenly, they're spending every day together, without the natural breaks that work or other commitments used to provide. For many men, adjusting to retirement can be difficult. Going from a structured, busy work life to having a lot of free time can leave them feeling uncertain or restless. Sometimes, they look to their wives to fill that void, expecting them to be their companion, caregiver, and entertainment all at once. For women who have spent their lives managing responsibilities, this sudden shift can feel overwhelming and suffocating. She may feel pressured to be constantly on for her husband, without the space or energy to focus on her own interests or needs. This new dynamic, if not managed well, can create tension and emotional distance in the marriage. Finally, there's the profound realization that life is finite, and time is precious. As people age, they experience loss, the passing of friends and loved ones, moments that remind them of their own mortality. This can prompt deep reflection about how they want to spend the time they have left. For many women, this leads to a powerful reevaluation of their marriage and their own happiness. They begin to ask themselves important questions like, am I truly happy? Do I feel loved and respected? Is this relationship giving me the life I want? If the answers to these questions don't satisfy them, it's natural that they might begin to pull away, not out of bitterness or anger, but as a way to protect their own well-being and preserve their dignity. So, what can husbands do if they recognize these signs or want to prevent this disconnection? Start by asking yourself honest questions. When was the last time I really listened to my wife? Not just heard her words, but truly listened to what she's feeling. When did I last show genuine appreciation for all she does, not just as a spouse, but as a person with her own dreams and needs? And to wives who feel disconnected, is there still space in your heart to rebuild the connection? Sometimes, even when things feel distant or difficult, small steps of vulnerability and communication can create new paths back to each other. Marriage is not a destination or a fixed state. It's a daily choice to show up for each other, to grow together, and to adapt as life changes. By taking care of ourselves and nurturing our relationships, we honor one of life's greatest treasures. Thank you for spending this time with me. If this resonated with you, please share your thoughts or experiences below. I look forward to seeing you in the next video.